favorite thing at Fanny's of the week. My name is Ellen. This week we're going to be taking a look at this Boss Katana amplifier. Instead of giving you a detailed feature-by-feature rundown of what this amp can do, because there are better YouTube videos out there for that sort of thing, people with more cameras, people who are better at editing stuff. I'm just going to go through and show you the features that I like about this amp, the way that I use it, and what I think makes it such a great value. But if you cannot be bothered to find the other YouTube videos, let me just give you a quick rundown. This is the Katana 50. It's a 50 watt solid state amplifier. There's also a Katana 100, which is what I have. There's a Katana 100 that's a 212, and there's also a Katana head. They are basically modeling and multi-effects amplifiers, and if you had asked me whether or not I thought that would be cool or a good idea a few years ago, I probably would have told you no. But now I have one. When I got my Katana, I was looking for an amp that I could leave in my car and just take to rehearsals and low pressure in-town gigs. I didn't want to spend a cajillion dollars on something that I was going to leave in my car. So I was basically looking at the Boss Katana, and I looked at a couple PV things as well. And the PV stuff all sounded fabulous, but it was really heavy. What drew me to the Katana before I even fired it up and turned it on or anything is that this is a really manageable, lightweight amplifier. What I noticed on firing it up is that it's easy to carry around, but it doesn't sacrifice volume, which is huge for me. I have a pathological need to be heard. Another thing that drew me to this amp is that it does have 4 different amp channels, but it also has an acoustic mode. So for me, it's just an in-town kind of Swiss Army knife. I mentioned that we have 4 amp channels and an acoustic mode. So let's just cycle through that right now. This is the clean sound. Here's the crunch sound. Here is the lead sound. And here is the brown sound. I was pretty much only using tube amps prior, and going to solid state was kind of a shock because it doesn't have the same compression and response and kind of forgiveness that tube amps have. I felt like all of my mistakes were laid bare. So the way that I use this amp most often is on the crunch channel with a low gain setting and a high volume setting. I find that this most closely mimics the response that I get from my tube amps. And that basically sounds like this. If you use the amp this way and you pick lightly, you're pretty clean. But if you dig in, you get just a little bit of breakup and crunch and some kind of harmonic activity. I find that the EQ section behaves almost exactly how you would expect it to, and there's almost no point in me going over it. So just trust me on that one. Let's take a look at how it sounds with acoustic. This is the only acoustic I can find that has a pickup in it. It's a Rain Song Concert Hybrid, and it has a Bag Stage Pro element. I've got everything flattened out, and here's how it sounds. Okay, I might choose to, personally, I might choose to brighten it up a little bit. Maybe not quite that much. Sound great for a situation where you're trying to save inputs on a PA, or maybe you don't have a great PA and you're switching between acoustic electric. That's how I've used this a lot. In addition to acoustic and electric guitar, I've also found that it accommodates keys and pedal steel really well. I primarily use it on the clean channel for those things and sometimes on the crunch channel for pedal steel. The 12-inch speaker and the EQ section pretty faithfully reproduce bass frequencies that I need to hear when I'm playing those instruments. This amp and my amp have a variable power control, so you can switch between using it at low power settings like a 1/2 watt up to 50 watts on this amp and up to 100 watts on mine. I find that just kind of keeps me honest. You know, if I don't have to use 100 watts, I can put it on 50. I just don't have to use 100 watts all the time. I think that I do, but I don't. One thing I thought I'd be using more on these Katana amps that I haven't found myself using as much is the Onboard Effects. The Onboard Effects can be accessed through a desktop editor, which is kind of a pain to get fired up because you gotta drag the amp back into your house and you gotta plug it into the USB, and it's this like whole big thing. It's my understanding that if you buy the little controller that goes with it and you have like presets set up, it's a little bit more usable, but I don't want to have a controller. That's just not how I roll. So what I did with mine, I spent an afternoon one day and I went through all the effects and I figured out the ones that I would need to use the most. I jotted them down on a little piece of tape and I taped it right to the top of my Katana so I know where my effects are and I know how to access them. But if you're just kind of around on the amp and you don't have the desktop editor up, it's a little hard to know what's going on. So bear with me. I've found that it's very usable when what I need is primarily basic guitar sounds, but then there's like one Prince song in the set or whatever and I need a T-wah. This has a great sounding T-wah. So I just go through my computer, pull up the weird effect that I need, plop, make sure I've got that plopped in to the Katana, and then I'm set to go. Here's some kind of reverb. Sounds springy. Sounds exactly right, okay? Here's some kind of delay. That's some kind of delay that gets a little darker, like kind of an analog. Yeah, pop a little spring reverb on that too. Here's, I don't know. Okay, it's kind of a C6 sounding tremolo. Ah, it's the T-wah! Yeah, see, the T-wah is what's up. The onboard effects are respectable and usable, but they're kind of difficult to navigate around in. I think if I had the controller it would be easier, but for me, for the way that I use this amp, I just have a couple of solid usable effects ready to flick on if I find myself needing it. While this amp is never going to replace the tube amps that I use on the road and in the studio, it has made my life a lot easier and better in town. For rehearsals and in-town gigs, it's lightweight, I leave it in my car, it's practically indestructible, it sounds pretty darn good, and I can use it on almost everything but a bass gig. Oh, it sounds great on baritone guitar too, I should have mentioned that, but it just does, you'll have to take my word for it. Anyway, perhaps it goes without saying, but I give the Boss Katana 5 out of 5 Allens. Allen! Here at Fanny's House of Music, we also sell vintage clothing. This is a blue tuxedo jacket with tails. This is a blue jacket. I don't care for it.
It's an awesome blue jacket.
I'm sorry, it's an awesome blue jacket. It's too much. It's what the kids are calling extra. I guess I just don't know where I would wear this. Or where anyone would wear this. Probably not with this outfit. Thank you for watching Ellen's Favorite Thing at Fanny's of the Week. Tune in next week for me to have another favorite thing.